hello again. While we're at Flixton, I'm just talking to Martin and relaying a story, and I thought, well, I might as well share it with you guys. And I think it was December the 14th, 2014. If I've got the date wrong, I will correct it with some text at the bottom, but I think that's the date. And on the evening of 2014, a huge V-shaped or boomerang-shaped UFO was seen on Valley Bridge at Scarborugh. I'll try and add an image of Valley Bridge. By motorists. Plenty of people saw it. It made the Scarborough Evening News newspaper, and a lot of people saw it. Later on that night, there's a man who lives in Hunmanby, who I've wrote about in Truth Proof 2, called Jonathan. That's all I will say. Has a farm in Hunmanby, which will play into this story shortly. And he'd been to a parents' evening with his young son at school, and he was with his wife. And they're driving home back to the farm from Scarborugh, bearing in mind this huge boomerang-shaped object had been seen earlier in the evening. So, as they're driving home, they see an object in the sky. Stop the car, they're that enthralled by it, and they can see this object, and then they can see the shape of it, and it looks V-shaped or boomerang-shaped. As an add-on to what I talked about with Martin Abbas a few weeks ago, I find myself travelling across the Flixton cars, and if you look in the distance there, probably can't see it, but there's RAF Staxton Wold there, and the UFO on the night of December the 8th, 2014, passed through here. And shortly we'll be picking it up and looking at the farm where the UFO passed over and stopped the wind turbines. So we'll catch up shortly. And he phones his stepfather at the farm. Dad, can you go outside of the farm now? There's a spacecraft flying in the direction of the farm. So he does exactly that, and they see the back end of this object. They're just there a little bit too late, and with that they ring the neighbouring farm, and this is going towards Hunmanby, heading towards Bempton, and I think the farm, and I could get this wrong because I can't remember the name of the farm, but it has a sign outside saying "Happy hens lay happy eggs." So there's a bit of nostalgia for you. So this guy goes out. He's been informed about this UFO, this object passing over the farm. He misses it altogether, but it stops his wind turbine on his farm. So I think he'd got 2 wind turbines and one of them stopped. So the farm in question is over there, and the wind turbines of that farm stopped. 2 small wind turbines, and I believe one of them stopped, and the farm is actually here. If you just tilt that slightly, we may get it. And here we go, and it's there anyway. And it had never done that before. That happened. They rang another farmer further down the coast because of the direction this object is travelling. When they ring this guy, he didn't see the object, but he had a large toy train, a sit-on one that a child has, and he'd got it for sale. Let's just say on eBay or some selling site, but he'd got it for sale. It was quite expensive when he was purchased, but it didn't work. He was selling it as an object that didn't work. But we can only assume that when this object, this UFO, passed over the farm, it had some effect on it, because all the whistles started to blow on it, the lights started flashing, and everything just come to life on this toy train, which is another fascinating aspect. So you would think that would be the end of the sighting. Jonathan goes home to the farm, discussing what he's seen, because he's quite blown away by this UFO, as were a lot of drivers who saw it on the Valley Bridge at Scarborugh. He's talking to his I think it's his stepdad and his mum, and they decide to go outside for a cigarette. And they stood outside in the farmyard, and they just look up, and it's there. It's above them. This is December, I think, 2014. Huge boomerang-shaped object that looks like graphite in colour. It's a sort of graphite colour with tiny sparkling lights all over it. Totally silent. Not very high. We're only talking a few 100 feet in the air. They're literally awestruck by what they're looking at. And they don't just watch it for 2 or 3 minutes. They're stood observing, watching this monstrous silent object. And then it just slowly disappears and just follows the contours of the land, and it's gone. However, there is one other part that I've not really told in conjunction with the UFO. And in Caton itself, and there's a guy called Alan. We'll just use his first name. And on the morning of December 2014, he decides to leave his home. Nobody knows why. And he disappears. He's gone. Several weeks later, he's found in this wood up here. And he's, from what I believe, the man's naked. Nobody knows how he got up here. It literally, it's a mystery how he got here with a heart condition in freezing conditions, 500 foot above sea level. And I think he was in his late 60s. It's not an impossible feat. I'm 61. I've just managed it, be blowing and puffing a little bit. But yeah, they were found in this wood. Is there a link to the UFO? We can't say that. It would be wrong. But I find it a massive coincidence. A huge UFO was seen in this area by motorists, by farmers. And then on the same day, a man decides he's going for a walk, quite out of character completely. And he's missing for weeks. And he's found in the woods to the left of where we are now. And obviously it's a tragedy. And I would never say that the UFO or the occupants of a UFO were responsible. But I just think it's good to highlight the fact that there was 2 unusual incidents that took place on the same day, because we know he vanished on the same day that the UFO was seen. And obviously it was weeks later when he was found. Before ending this short account of the UFO and the tragedy, I thought I'd just add one more piece of information that, to be honest, I've not forgotten about, but there's that much information. It's sometimes hard not to overlook these things. And this is from Truth Proof 2, the book where I first wrote about this strange series of events. And it's UFO near RAF base. So the UFO's seen on the 8th of December, the tragic events that unfolded with the gentleman on Caton Low Road. That was the 8th of December. Now, the 13th of December. So, okay, we're coming forward, but we've got an interesting story here from at the back of Staxton Wold, so very close. So I've written, close to where these strange events took place, other unusual things were observed in the sky in December 2014. I received the following account from a couple who lived close to RAF Staxton Wold. I do consider it quite significant and was pleased that the main witnesses took the time to write up this short report. They are a very private couple who rarely talk openly about such things. Although in September 2007 they did contact me to report previous sightings, which I published in Truth Proof 1, under the title of Encounter at Staxton Wold. So you can see these people are very much on the money, as in close to the location. So back to it. Saturday, December the 13th, 2014 at 5:30 a.m. At 5:30 a.m. I opened the bedroom curtains to my bedroom that faces southeast. The sky was clear and the stars were easily visible. It was still dark, but to the east in the sky, slightly higher, this was before sunrise, we have a very good view of the sky and observe it on a daily basis, early each morning and at night. And I've been doing so for the last 8 years. We have no light pollution here other than traffic that passes on the A1249 road. On this occasion, from that particular window, I noticed an unusual fuzzy patch of light in the sky in the southeast. I expected it to be a cluster of stars, although I do not remember ever seeing them before. Through binoculars, this fuzzy patch of light turned out to be something that looked like the bottom left quarter of a round object, with a bright but still perfectly fuzzy light shining from it. See sketch. Okay, well, we'll do the sketch in a moment. To the right, above it and below, it was dark, as if in shadow, but I could still see the stars in the vicinity of it. I watched as a white stroke silver light about the size of a star came out of the shadow below and passed quite close across it, going from right to left. I wondered if I could see this without binoculars, but I could not. As I continued to watch, I realised the object was moving very slowly from the left to the right. But it was behind the stars, which was odd. It continued to move very slowly to the right and also upwards and backwards, just fading slightly as it did. At 6 a.m, I went outside and without binoculars I could still see the fuzzy patch in the sky. Unfortunately, I could not spend any more time observing it, but each morning since then, if the sky has been clear, I look to see if this object or anything else is there that is unusual. So that's just another interesting sighting, approximately a week after the events of December the 8th. And just, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's the shape that she saw in the sky. And that is from Truth Proof 2. And we'll jump back to the film. And I'd just like to say thank you very much, and I'll catch you next time. So for Truth Proof, I will end it there. And as always, if you like what we're talking about, please press the like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.